Hi everybody, and welcome to your weekly woo. So this week we pulled squirrel again, this time upright, and red root is our plant ally this week. So squirrel upright means that we're doing something correct as far as the progression of the weeks is concerned. Squirrel is about preparedness, to gather and stock up and prepare out of foresight, not out of a sense of fear and hoarding. So we're doing good when it comes to that. But squirrel is also about preparing with a sense of curiosity and really thinking about what you need to release as far as what have you accumulated too much of? What's taking up space? Now, I want to turn this inwards because we have the understanding of what it is physically to hoard and let go and store. But what about internally, the inner standing? Squirrel says to us, upright, where have you accumulated grudges, resentments, fears, worries? And can you release those with a sense of freedom, with a sense of, if I let go, that means I will have more room for the new, to gather new, to create new energy, to store for the future good feelings, good ideas. So we're leading up to a new moon on Wednesday, and we're also in the week of Earth Day. And so there's something about this sense of renewal that's coming in and coming back to basics. What's more basic than connecting to this planet and really feeling the fact that you are a child of Mother Matter, which is represented by Earth, and to really think about, in this time where we've all been called to truly evaluate what we value, how has that changed for you? Can you let go of old values, old ideas of who you are, who your partner is, who your family members are? That's what squirrel asks us to do when it's upright, because there's a sense of a future where we're really going to have a clear understanding of what we've chosen to take into it. What are we choosing to carry into the future? And now in this dark moon phase, as we let go and we release and we hydrate and we rest so that we're really able to align with that new moon energy on Wednesday, which is going to be very heightened, very exuberant, many aha moments. The squirrel says prepare for it by really taking stock of what you're holding on to and what you're letting go. What do you need to really simplify the needs? What's the basics that you need to feel good, to thrive, both physically and emotionally? And really taking the opportunity to let go of things that are tying you down into nitpicking, into judgment, into resentment. And then this goes so well with the red root. So red root is a North American shrub, and its leaves have been used for tea, but its root is the real medicine here. So the root was used to unblock stagnant lymphatic systems. Now, the lymphatic system is how we purge, it's how we detoxify. It's the flush out of what could harm the body. So already we're getting a message here to let go, to cleanse on a physical level, to make sure your lymphatic system is really doing its job. You know, the idea of drinking lemon water every morning, the sense of how can you cleanse and clear out the past toxicity. This would be a really good time to do all kinds of different cleanses and fasting this week. But the red root, there's also, it's used in homeopathy for an enlarged spleen. So in Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, each organ stores an emotional vibration, the vibration of different emotions. Like the liver is generally anger. Well, the spleen is the sense of melancholy. But as I've worked with spleen and different forms of medicine for spleen, I also feel like there's a certain amount of anxiety that also resides in the spleen. Red Root is asking us to look at the parts of ourself that we don't want to look at. The melancholy coming from not being truthful with oneself, not taking responsibility for one's actions, one's present moment, and not taking responsibility for one's past. Red Root is inviting us to look deeply at our sadness and our anxiety right now. And what I have learned, and this actually says shadow side, what I've learned about healing emotionally and healing trauma personally is that we have to face the parts of ourselves that are frustrated and angry and filled with hatred or judgment towards others. If we look squarely at those parts of ourselves, we can release those denser feelings and emotions and really unclog our physical body. If we don't own the anger, right? Because depression is anger suppressed. If we don't own it, it can manifest in our outside world as difficult relationships, difficult financial situations, difficult career scenarios. So this week, as we are given the medicine of squirrel, to really take count, look at what are you storing? What are you storing in your lymphatic system? What are you storing as far as grudge points and resentments and pain and anger at yourself? It always comes back to anger at self and hatred of self when it comes to the shadow side, because we realize that even though we may say, oh, this person was so difficult or this scenario was so difficult, at the end of the day, we have to take responsibility for being involved with that person or involved in that scenario. So Red Root says, own it. Own every decision you've made, every person you've aligned with. Own it. Because at the end of the day, if you can own it, that means you can release it. If you can feel it, that means you can heal it. And the squirrel says, you have all the energy you need to do this. And that as you release these parts of yourself that you don't want to look at, that you don't want to admit to, you know, it could even be frustration at the government or the powers that be. And to look at yourself and be like, but what about the decisions you have made in regards to this issue are making you feel frustrated and angry? Can you go all the way back to what is my part? How do I feel? And how do I feel about my decisions? This week can be quite transformative, because when you do shadow work, by looking at the parts that you weren't allowed to look at when you were kids, like I don't know about you guys, I wasn't allowed to be angry. I wasn't allowed to say no. When you look at those parts, own them, give them space, give them expression. Not only are you unblocking energy, but you're blocking, if you've seen the video of the energetic body, you're unblocking the vibrations of feelings and memories that are stored in your energetic body that lead to the disorganization of cells, which lead to the illness and the disease and the blocked lymphatic system. So this is really asking us this week to go deep and to think about, what do we need to let go of? And can we do it efficiently? To not dwell, just to say, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm done with this grudge. I'm done with being mad about this decision I made. I'm done with being guilty and ashamed of the choices that I've made. And you forgive yourself. And you own it. And this also, it makes me think of, you know, this idea of dark and light and how we've polarized it in our society. But the more you push something away, the bigger it becomes. And so with these parts of ourselves that we don't like, if we embrace them, if we just acknowledge them, yes, it's here, the anger's here, yes, the disappointment, whatever it is, the judgment, yes, I'm judging that person, you automatically shift your vibration, and it begins to dissolve these parts that we're so ashamed of, or we so want to just ignore and push away. This also makes me think of disgust. This one particular vibration, this emotion, this feeling of disgust, that when we are disgusted with someone, it really, it is like a dark, thick, gray substance in a way that holds within all layers of our being. And this idea of how do you release disgust? And the first thing you do is to admit that you're experiencing it. And don't take my word for this. If you're experiencing disgust at all this week, think about that. To just admit, like, I'm just disgusted with this situation or with this person or with myself. And see how the energy shifts for you. So thank you so much for viewing. I hope this spoke with you. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I have a little one running around who loves to watch me work on these things. So we invite that energy in too this week, right? They're the element of, as we take stock, and we've had to make so many changes, that there is this adaptability that we're realizing is one of our greatest resources. It goes back to this idea of the squirrel's ability to forage for itself, know what it has to let go of, and like really quick timing. This adaptability is something that we all have access to now, and this does relate back to the adaptability of shedding the darkness within, acknowledging it, being adaptable to be like, yes, I see it and I accept it, and now I can let it go. And then moving on into a better vibration, a better feeling thought, a better feeling situation. I hope this helped you guys. Please like and subscribe. You know I do private readings. Contact me, info@thegoodwoo.org, or you can just DM me or head to the website for more of these readings and other videos, thegoodwoo.org. There is also going to be an extended each week on Patreon, so Patreon/thegoodwoo, and you will see the extended from the last 3 weeks that we've done. And on Patreon, I'm also going to be doing some live Q&As for people who are interested in the deeper ideas that I'm presenting. And of course, this week on Wednesday, having the guided meditation for you all. So I hope you join me on Patreon. If you can't, thank you so much for viewing this, and may you be able to gather and release with efficiency, with joy, and may you fearlessly face the shadows within so that you can free up and unclog, so that you can really be accessing your highest levels of creativity, your highest levels of relating to others, and your deepest connection with your highest self. Thank you so much, everybody.